Hi, in just a couple of minutes, we're going to deploy a Contactzilla contact list to an iPhone via our MDM software, Microsoft Intune. Once it's set up, the contacts appear automatically on each managed device in the native Contacts app, and any changes that you make to the Contactzilla address book are updated on the devices. So before we start, MS Intune itself needs to be ready. So that means your Apple MDM push certificate is active and your iOS device group is set up in Intune. So I've created one here, which is named after my Contactzilla team, and I've added an iPhone to this group. You may well have dozens or hundreds of phones enrolled in your group, and the process will be exactly the same for you. So over in my Contactzilla dashboard, I've opened up the address book I want to deploy, and I've gone to the CardDAV connections. And the first thing I'm going to do is select iOS from the drop down here for connection type. The next step is to assign the connection to a team member. So in Contactzilla, you can assign a connection directly to any team member, and that's useful if you just want to get contacts onto that person's phone individually. They can scan a QR code and set it up themselves very easily. But for MDM rollouts, we use a special kind of user called an MDM user, which is a device-only account. So let's create one now. I'll head over to Team Members and add an MDM user device-only access. The email address here is arbitrary, so you can put anything in there. Hit Add, and that's done. You'll see that MDM user added here under Team Members. Let's head back over to CardDAV connections and select that new MDM user. Label sync, I'm just going to leave as the default setting, and now decide on the access level for the end users. So for most managed rollouts, full read-only is a popular choice because it prevents any accidental changes to your master contact list. You can, of course, do a full read-write rollout, giving the end users the ability to edit contacts. And if you do select that, we have a handy feature just here to give them that editing capability, but still prevent them from deleting any contacts. And I do want to touch on selective read-only because it's a very useful feature. You don't have to send the entire address book to every device. Instead, you can choose one or more labels, and only the contacts with those labels are deployed to the devices. So if I just add a couple here and hit create, you can see my selective read-only rollout is here ready to go. But I'm going to go with a read-only. And finally, you want to set the number of device connections to match your rollout and then click create. So under the new device connection here, if I hit setup, I can download the mobile config file that we can now deploy in our MDM software, which in this case is Intune. So back over to MS Intune, we're going to deploy that file and we're going to create a policy in order to do that. So under devices, we go to configuration, and now we're going to create a new policy. The platform is iOS. Profile type is templates, and then custom, and then we hit create. So now we give the policy a name. This is for admins to easily identify the policy within Intune. So I'm going to just reference the fact that it's Contactzilla, that it's iOS, and the initial for my address book, Project Cascade Tower. This next name is potentially one that users will see. So I'm just going to name the address book itself. Now we upload the mobile config file that we downloaded from Contactzilla and hit next. So now we select the group of devices to include in this rollout. I have my iOS group Skyline Development iPhones here. Hit next, a quick review, and hit create. And that's done. If you hit refresh here, you'll see the policy will appear. So Intune configuration profiles typically deploy within 15 minutes for newly enrolled devices, or up to 8 hours for existing devices during their automatic check-in cycle. But you can speed this up, so users can force an immediate sync by opening the company portal app on their device if they're using it, and then tapping check status within the devices section. Alternatively, IT admins can force a sync remotely from the Intune admin center by going to Devices, All Devices, selecting the target device, and then clicking Sync. So that's it. In a very short amount of time, we've created a mobile config file in the Contactzilla dashboard. We've uploaded it to Intune, and now your devices will stay in sync automatically with just the contacts you need.